Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on The Flash, and welcome to the new series that we will be doing over the next few or maybe several months, depending on if everyone is enjoying them. Now this series, as you should be able to tell from the title, is called Flashback Reviews. Yes, Flashback, which is something I said I was going to do. I think it was after season 4, but I just didn't go through with it. Well, the time is now. In this series, we'll be going back and reviewing or re-reviewing some of the greatest and top-rated episodes of The Flash since Season 1. This series will mostly be contained from Seasons 1 through to 3, as that makes it like a proper flashback, but we might take a few episodes from Seasons 4 through to maybe even 6 as well. But that would be more deeper into the series. But if you do have a major preference for an episode and one you really want to see re-reviewed in this flashback series, let me know in the comment section down below. I'm all ears. Now, the episode that we'll be flashbacking to in today's video is episode 15 of season 1 of The Flash, otherwise entitled Out of Time. Now, feel free to continue watching, but if you do want to go back and watch the episode for yourself before continuing on with this video, feel free to do that as well. But that isn't essential because as soon as I start talking about the episode in detail, memories just, should start flooding back into that good old brain of yours. Now, before reviewing each episode, I will let you know what the next episode will be that we're going to look at, so you can go back and watch it in preparation if you do want to do that. And the next episode we'll be going over will be episode 23 of season 1. Yes, the season 1 finale of The Flash, which is going to be a doozy. But let's just jump into it. But of course, let me know your thoughts on this episode in the comment section down below, what you loved about it, as well as any criticisms you might have. Let me know them in the comment section down below as well. And of course, because this is a new series, it would be awesome if you could drop a like on the video to show support for it. Would be greatly appreciated. But yeah, let's just jump into our Speed Force recap of the episode. So leading into this episode, there had been tension in the relationship of Eddie Thawne and Iris, as to him it seemed Barry and her were getting a bit closer than usual. And suspicions around Dr. Wells had been growing. Along with this, there was a failed attempt to capture the Reverse Flash, though it still gave them some information to play with, especially in this episode. But as we start episode 15, we have Mark Martin, the brother of Clyde Martin from the pilot, who returns to Central City and is like, yo, my brother was killed by one of you, someone's paying for that, I'm the Weather Wizard. Now, Barry, when traveling to a crime scene involving Weather Wizard, sees another version of himself next to himself, and he's like, what the hell's going on here? Who are you? Now, Barry and Iris learned from Iris's boss at the Central City Picture News that Dr. Wells was with Simon Stagg on the last night he was seen, which Barry does share with Caitlin and Cisco, and Barry is super suspicious. But so is Cisco, as he puts this together with Joe's suspicions about Dr. Wells, and this leads to Cisco investigating the night they failed to capture Reverse Flash in the containment cell, while Caitlin keeps Dr. Wells busy at good old Jitters. During this time, Cisco realizes that it was all a setup, something's not right here, and Wells, in a very shocking moment that I don't think a lot of us were expecting to happen, leaves the wheelchair behind with Caitlin at Jitters and runs to Star Labs, reveals himself as Eobard Thawne, aka Reverse Flash, to Cisco, then reveals his plans to Cisco and what he was doing, and finally just horizontally dabs Cisco in the chest, in the heart, RIP Cisco. Meanwhile, Joe West is abducted by Weather Wizard and he sets a tsunami on Central City. Barry and Iris share their first kiss on the show, with him then revealing that he is the Flash. Oh, big moment. But Barry, in the act of stopping the tsunami, runs so fast, faster than he's ever done before, that he accidentally runs back in time to the point that we saw earlier in the episode, pretty much making this episode a full circle, but also sort of pointless at the same time. Wow. Now, I'm going to go over the cons and pros of this episode because I think that's just the best way to go about it. And to be completely honest, it's the best of The Flash. There's not going to be too many cons per episode. In some cases, there will be none. But funnily enough, for the top-rated episode, there's probably one con that stands out. And this con, I think, is the Eddie and Iris and Barry love triangle. It always felt wrong, especially when watching this live and watching it back now. So watching it back when season 1 was airing, it felt weird. Watching it now, it felt weird as well. All the lying sort of marked both Barry and Iris in a fairly bad way in this episode especially. But of course, as I said, Barry runs back in time and pretty much like 95% of the episode is erased from existence. Didn't really happen. The only thing that really happened was the opening bowling scene. That's pretty much it. And of course, the coroner dying. So RIP him, I guess. He's still dead regardless of Barry running back in time. But let's jump into the pros. And there's not like a massive list here, but the pros, man, they're so good. Let's just jump into them. The first one really doesn't have to do with anything within the episode. It actually existed before this episode aired, and that's the promo or trailer for this episode. I think it's mostly seen as the best promo we've ever gotten on the show. Some might debate, hey, this episode from season 3 was good, this episode from, the beginning of season 6 or something like that. I can understand people's opinions here. But the promo for this episode, it's so simple, but just amazing at the same time, and it got you so hyped for the episode. You were just like, oh god, a week. Can we time travel forward a week to get this episode? You know what? I'm just going to show it to you. Just watch it.
I've grown quite fond of you. In many ways, you have shown me what it's like to have a son.
I can't believe this.
Dr. Wells had something to do with Barry's mom's murder.
He's in a wheelchair? How could he possibly have done that?
You're smart, but you're not that smart.
Flash.
So yeah, I wasn't lying. It builds the hype. Obviously, you've watched the episode, so I might be like, oh, hold on, it's not that good. But leading into the episode, you're like, man, bring that on. Bring that on, please, right now. Now, Weather Wizard, played by Liam McIntyre, I think he's one of the top rogues we've had on the show. We haven't actually had him that much. I think we've only had him in, like, 5 or 6 episodes, maybe, and even some of those were just, like, little cameo appearances. Like, he wasn't really the main focus. I'd love to see more of him, but I think he's a pretty expensive rogue, I think, because of all, like, the weather control and stuff. But we had just in this episode alone, we had some really cool scenes with him. Obviously, the opening coroner scene with him with, like, I was going to call them snowballs, but they're just big chunks of hail, pretty much, just lobbing them at the coroner. We have that car scene where Barry and Joe have gone out to lunch, the lightning coming down, cool scene, then just the car exploding as well, just a really awesome scene there. The scene in Central City Police Department with the weather one when it's there as well. I think that's probably the best scene in the episode. I just love the visuals of it and all the camera work and stuff like that. Just a great scene. And then of course the big scene, which is in a lot of I guess a lot of different montages that the show will use because it leads into Barry time traveling. But the big tsunami or tidal wave, what do you want to call it? They're different things, but I guess they call it a tsunami on the show, so it's a tsunami. That whole thing was just cool. Like, Weather Wizard, awesome villain. I wish we'd see more of him. Now, one thing in this episode I wasn't expecting to look back on and go, man, I missed this. This is really good. And there's not even a ridiculous amount of it. I think there's 2 scenes of it in the episode, maybe even only 1 from memory. And that's original Team Flash or OG Team Flash. And Joe was there as well. So it was Cisco, Caitlin, Barry, and at that point, Dr. Wells. And Joe's there. And I was like, there's so much space. There's so much room for activities in the Cortex because there's not so many people there. I just forgot how good that was. I wish we see more of that. Obviously, one of the areas is that they probably added too many, even people that probably don't need to be there as well. But man, just looking at that, I was like, oh god, I miss just it being so simple. Not me dragging what it is at the moment because it still works at the moment, but I think that's just the best iteration of it because it just was simple and everyone served a purpose. Obviously, I would be stupid not to mention this, the Cisco and Eobard final chat, I guess you could call it, before the timeline was rewritten or Barry traveled back in time. I almost cried rewatching it. I'm not gonna lie, tears welled in my eyes. It's such a good scene and the acting's brilliant. I think Carlos Valdez kills it in that scene. It's probably one of the best scenes he's done on the show because you really felt that. You felt like he'd been betrayed and he was just like, he knew he was a goner. It's such a good scene, and just Tom Cavanaugh is just perfect as that version where it's, he went from Dr. Wells into Eobard in that scene. I remember but obviously I need to bring up him actually killing Cisco. I remember watching that live, and I'm sure everyone was in this boat, whether you watched it when season 1 was airing or you started watching around when season 4 was airing, but you binge watched. When that happened, I remember honestly getting close to just going, not only expelling verbally a big WTF, but not, abbreviated, but almost pegging my remote at maybe my couch, but more specifically the television set. I just couldn't believe it. I was like, hold on. They just killed Cisco. I remember one of my friends watching it a couple of days after I did, and him texting me going no, because Cisco was his favorite character. And he was just like, wait, no, what? What have they done here? Crazy scene. I don't think anyone thought what was going to happen was going to happen with Barry time traveling and cancelling it out, because so much had happened in that episode. They sort of forgot what had happened at the beginning of the episode with Barry seeing another version of him. Crazy. And of course, that sets up vibe. So there's a couple of different things going on there, even though that was sort of cancel it out, it still plays into Cisco becoming Vibe later on. So amazing scene for multiple reasons. And then of course the time travel sequence. It was our first taste, and it was great. Obviously you could argue, well, maybe you should have seen, you know, various things on the side and stuff, but like we saw in the season 1 finale. But it was pretty simple. I think it had to be like that. I think we needed to focus on it being like Barry's first time traveling, and just it being like pretty much full circle for the most part. I just thought it was really cool. So the time travel sequence was just lovely to watch. That's probably the best way to word it. Now there is a big question that goes along with this. Does this episode deserve to be the top rated episode? And you can let me know your opinions on that in the comment section down below. Personally for me, upon rewatching it, I would say yes. I did not get bored watching this episode once. Sometimes if I go back and rewatch an episode, there's scenes where like that you just sort of like turn your mind off. You can argue there's like 1 or 2 scenes here, but they still relate to what's going in the overall plot, so they don't feel like filler scenes within a good episode. Everything felt relevant, and I just enjoyed the hell out of this episode. Obviously, we got a decent more episodes to come in regards to the top rated episodes, so my opinion might change, but just based off what I saw here, and just thinking back to other episodes, I would say, yeah, it probably does deserve to be the top rated episode. But thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Just a reminder to everyone, the next episode we're doing for this for the next flashback review is episode 23 of season 1, the season 1 finale. But if you enjoyed this video, it would be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions on this episode. Is it still one of your top favorites? Do you think it deserves to be the top rated episode of all time? Let me know your various opinions down there in the comments. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.